And, there was a moment where I was playing defense against Cade, and he went to the hole, and I got elbowed in the face, like the first possession.
Flagrant elbow.
So that was, a welcome to NBA moment.
What's up, Piston fans? So the Detroit Pistons played the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight in this preseason game. They lost. They did lose the game, but so it was some points that I wanted to take away from that game that it's okay for me. With this being preseason, wins and losses don't necessarily mean too much, but there is some things that you want to see that I wanted to see the individual players themselves do and as a team achieve. So they lost 115-99 tonight. Quarter-wise, third quarter, Detroit suffered, only scoring 17 points. 25 points were scored in the second and fourth quarter and 32 in the first quarter. So they came out with a bang. Marvin Bagley III did suffer an injury to his knee. We'll find out more about that as they examine him and so forth. So I had some notes from the game as I was watching it, some things that stood out to me and some things that really I was really pleased with our players. Of course, there are some things that everybody needs to work on, but I'm focusing right now on some things that I did like, that I did see. The things that they need to work on, it's not just me that sees that they need to work on them as far as turnovers, individual players and their turnovers, the lack of intensity. But those things hopefully will be picked up on and will be addressed as the season goes on. But some things I had looking at my random notes, and I'm going to just go randomly through them, and I'll address how I feel about the game in a minute. One is Jalen Duren held his own. He came in to fill in for Bagley when he went out with a knee injury. Jalen Duren held his own. He looked good. The refs were on him. He had a lot of ticky-tack fouls, so he does need to work on that. But he looked good. He held his own, and he really did his thing out there. And I was pleased with that because it was a point of interest, point of concern, rather, when he wasn't out there as to how he was going to hold up. But he did his thing. So also, Jaden Ivey is him. I want to express that. And there's not too much else to say about him as far as that's concerned, but Jaden Ivey is him. This game showed that he is going to be a remarkable NBA basketball player, a remarkable Detroit Pistons basketball player. So we can definitely get it lined up and be prepared to see some exciting basketball from the Detroit Pistons and from Jaden Ivey. And once again, speaking about Jalen Duren, him and Beef Stew was out there. When Bagley went out, him and Beef Stew was out there, and they can work together. Stew was at the 4, Duren was at the 5. They look good out there together, rim protecting and everything. So I really was excited about that, seeing them both out there, and they held their own. I wasn't upset about anything. Those guys went out there and they did their thing, holding their own against those against the OKC Thunder defensively. So I like that. Jaden Ivey, here's another point. Jaden Ivey can use his speed to be a defensive presence. He can use his speed to be a defensive presence. So we've seen some times when Ivey would, his speed would allow him to catch up with a player, get a strip, go back down. One of the points I brought out was him with that no-look push pass to Sadiq Bey. That looked good. So I was pleased to see Ivey use his speed, not just for offense, but also for defense. Here's another point. The block party was in full effect. The Detroit Pistons got a number of blocks this game. Looking at the stats, defensively, these boys went in there and got 9 blocks. The block party was in full effect. When you got a team that's getting blocks like that, that shows that everyone there is at least locked in one-on-one coverage, trying to do their thing and prevent their player from scoring, and also in help coverage. So 9 blocks were registered for this game. Even though they lost, once again, the score was 115-99. They lost. This is preseason, but it's still good to see them bring a defensive intensity. They also had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8 steals this game. That's defense. Defensive intensity when you're getting blocks and steals. So that's some things that I was pleased with watching. Another point I had in my notes was that Stu was fearless blocking shots at the rim. Usually you will see Nerlens Noel blocking shots at the rim. You watch any of his highlights, a lot of his blocks right at the rim. Right at the rim. I would be worried if I was playing like that. I get my hand broke. Somebody trying to dunk on me, but Beef Stew was fearless. Nerlens Noel, he's fearless blocking shots at the rim. So it was good seeing Beef Stew out there, and perhaps some of that rubbed off on him from some talk with Nerlens. Since Nerlens is on the team now, so some of that has no doubt rubbed off on Beef Stew. Also, another point that I had here is that Ivy can get to the free throw line. Ivy had a number of plays where he was getting to that basket under control, and he got to the free throw line. Not as much as I would have liked him seen, but once again, this is preseason, and once again, we are the Detroit Pistons, so the refs do not necessarily give us the benefit of the whistle when we should have it, and as many times as we should have it. Now we have a player that can get to the rim and should demand and command a lot more whistles than what we've had in the past. Even with K getting to the rim like he was doing last season towards the second half, he didn't get to the free throw line. So hopefully that'll change now. Another point, and this might be the next few points that I had. Killian was aggressive. And I think from what I'm seeing that we can expect to see Killian Hayes being aggressive moving forward. This is the new killer. This is the new killer that we're seeing. Killian Hayes looked good. Now, I haven't seen, and we will see moving forward, him when shots aren't going, calls aren't going, the game isn't going his way. Will he drop his head and be passive again? But hopefully he won't. If he can continue to be aggressive like this, then from what he's showing, this new Killian Hayes is going to be nice to watch. He's going to be a very good addition to the team because we didn't have him all the time last season being aggressive. So I'm looking forward to seeing from what he's showing so far. This is preseason, but from what he's showing so far, Killian Hayes look like this is what we're going to see from him moving forward, it seems. Another point, Killian Hayes is dropping wide open threes with his new form. He's got a new shooting form he's been working on, and it looks good. The release looks good, and you almost think it's going to go in every time he puts the shot up. He looks good with his new form, and he's dropping those wide open threes. So I'm happy with that. Another point I had was that aggressive Killian looks good. Another point, Killian is in beast mode. Killian was out there being aggressive, driving to the basket, doing spin arounds, laying it up on the glass, playing defense, locking folks down, getting blocked shots. He was looking good. Another point I had was that Killian dropped a nice dime to Corey Joseph in the paint. That broke the lead down to 5 points. The lead, they got up past 10 points. And Killian, on their way coming back, the Pistons were making some moves, making some stops, and Killian comes down and drops a nice pass off to Corey Joseph in the paint. That looked good. So I was happy to see Killian doing this thing. Another point I had wrote down was Bojan on the sideline talking with Stu. I think it was the end of the third quarter going into the fourth. Bojan was over there talking to Beef Stew in his ear, getting on him, encouraging him about some things that's going on in the game. And you like to see that from your veterans. And it looks as if Beef Stew was paying attention, listening. That's going to be important. And that's why even though a nice player is available, or you got to get players that's going to be good locker room teammates, good veteran presences in the locker room, those that's going to be good and encouraging to the teammates. Take them under their wing, be those uncles to them. And even though with the Kemba Walker situation, Kemba Walker's a lot better player than Corey Joseph, but will he be that presence? The players and the young core seem to respect Corey Joseph. I can't stand Corey Joseph, but they still seem to respect him, and that may be why the Pistons brass has decided to stay with Corey Joseph. But I'm going way off into another video. But anyway, regardless of that, let's get back to the notes. Aggressive. My next note brought out that Killian was in beast mode. I forgot exactly what he did, but he just looked good late in the game, fourth quarter. Killian, all through the game, Killian was really looking good, and he was beasting. He was playing aggressive. He was taking the ball to the basket aggressively. This is preseason, but you still want to see that from Killian moving forward, and he looked good doing it. Another point I had was that Jaden Ivey hates losing. His demeanor says it all. You could tell that Jaden Ivey don't like to lose. One of his teammates, I think from Purdue, brought out how he used to cry after losses in the locker room. So he has a passion for the game. He has a passion for winning, and he plays like it. You can look at him. He was out there getting the block, trying to strip and rip the ball away. It led to a jump ball, but he was just aggressive. He's aggressive, and it looks like he's determined to be aggressive defensively too. And Detroit, the Pistons are going to need that. So hopefully Ivy can come in and not just bring speed offensively, but provide that speed defensively as well. So that'll be something that we can all look forward to if he does lock in and get going. So Killian Hayes had 20 points. Saddiq Bey had 19 points for the game. Ivy with 11. Cade with 10 on 3 of 13 shooting. Cade struggled a little bit tonight. Hopefully when the lights come on, the big games come on, he'll jump in there and lock back in, and I'm sure he will. So, also, Beef Stew was in there doing his thing. Jalen Duren, like I brought out before, Jalen Duren was good to watch, seeing him lock in like that. He had 10 rebounds, 5 points, 10 rebounds. So he was doing his thing, man, and the Pistons were locked in defensively. And that's something that you want to see, and I was pleased to see that. Beef Stew didn't attempt any three-point shots. That's okay. He still stretched the floor, and he still did other things, getting 3 blocks, leading the team with 3 blocks. So he still did other things that we really can appreciate. So that's what happened with the game tonight, the game, preseason game versus OKC. It is preseason. Bags is hurt, so hopefully his injury won't be anything prolonged and keep him out for an extensive time. Hamidou Diallo did not play. Alec Burks did not play. Nerlens Noel did not play. Bojan Bogdanovic did not play. So it was a number of players that didn't play this game. So when you look at the score, even though it's preseason, we still kind of look at the score and would like the Pistons to win. But when you look at the score, a lot of our players did not play tonight. But our main players that did play, they looked good. And we have something to root for and cheer for, and we all as Pistons fans can look forward to some exciting basketball moving forward. So if you didn't watch the game, this is my highlights, the things that I appreciated and liked from the game. If you watched it or had some concerns or want to talk about anything, leave it in the comments. Right now, I think we're at 73 subscribers. We appreciate all the support. Continue to like, share, and subscribe if you're new or this is your first time listening. Thank all of you for your time. Thank all of you for listening. Be respectful in the comments. And with that, Piston fans, stay safe.